Hello and welcome back to Paracord Planet. So we all know the story of Frankenstein's monster, where the mad scientist Frankenstein and his creepy assistant Igor get together and make a monster out of bits and pieces of other people's body parts. So today we're going to be showing you how to make Frankenstein's monster into a bracelet. So to get started on stitching up our monster bracelet, you'll need a couple handfuls of 2 to 3 inch paracord scraps. With your scraps, I wouldn't go any shorter than around 1 inch pieces, because I was finding that when I was trying to weave that with those shorter ones, they did tend to break off a lot easier. For my core strands, I will be using 10 feet of our black and gray diamond pattern in 550. And I will be using the Trilobite weave for this bracelet. Another good pattern or weave to use for this patchwork bracelet I found was the bone tower, which I will link to in the description below. Other than your cord and your scraps, you're going to need a ruler, a lighter, a buckle. For this one, I am using a 3/4 inch black metal buckle, and a pair of scissors. And with that, let's get started. So to start our monster, you want to lay out the skeleton like you would for a Trilobite weave. So you'll have your 4 core strands, and I will link in the description below to our Trilobite tutorial video in case you're not familiar with how to set up for that weave. So typically with the Trilobite, your working ends would be right here at the top of your bracelet, and you would just weave with those. For this, I just cut those off, and I am going to cut them nice and close to the bracelet and melt those edges down before I start. And once you have those ends secured, now you can start with your patchwork cord. So you want to take that cord and fold that in half. And slide one end underneath of your 4 core strands. So this first part, you'll end up taking one side and going up over one of the outer strands. And then make sure that the rest of the cord is underneath those other 3 strands. So you'll start by tucking one under and one over, and then crossing both under and over the 2 center strands. So the one that you first had go over will go over, under, over, under. And in our original Trilobite video, we do have a diagram that shows just how this pattern works. So if you want a closer look at that, again, that'll be in the description below. So that cross pattern is essentially the entire weave for this bracelet. So I'll go ahead and get a couple inches done and show you what it looks like. Now I have a couple inches of my bracelet done. So you might find that you have a couple pieces that might start coming apart off of your stitched together cord. If you'd like to use a butane or torch lighter instead of a regular lighter, I actually would recommend that, just because you might end up with a couple blisters afterwards, but you can always just melt those back together. So I've pushed my working strands up as I've gone along to get that Trilobite pattern. So you do just want to make sure that as you're doing your weave, you're just pushing it forward as you go. So now you're seeing that we're really getting a lot of variation, a lot of our colors are showing through. So I'll go ahead and finish this bracelet up, and we'll take a look when it's all done. And it's alive! So that's our finished Frankenstein's monster. To finish it all the way up, I'm just going to cut these back 2 strands off really close to the bracelet and melt them down. So now I'm just freeing him so he can go torture the good townsfolk. Now these bracelets are super fun to customize just because there are all these different colors. I mean, it's definitely not your typical paracord bracelet. So I think I'm going to try and put a couple finishing touches on him. So I have these really spooky spikes. I have a few different colors, but for this one, I think I'm going to try some neon green. So I'll take my fib, I'll make a couple holes, and use these little screwbacks to put them on the bracelet. And here's our Frankenstein's monster, all ready to get chased down by some angry villagers. And you can make it as unique as you want to, whether you're using a metal buckle, some little extras like your spikes or microcord, or whatever you have laying around. And we'd love to see whatever you come up with for your monster. So make sure that you share those on all of our social channels, and we'll probably feature 1 or 2 of those closer to Halloween. So I hope you all enjoyed this extra spooky paracord tutorial, and I hope you join us next time.